Weaponlord for the Sega Genesis and the SNES, but today we're going to check out the Sega Genesis version. It's very overlooked. It had so many firsts in fighting games. First online capabilities, first time you could parry, block in a video game, all kinds of stuff. Especially in an era in the mid to early 90s with so many post-Street Fighter II clones that were garbage with shitty gameplay, shitty, lame graphics. Weaponlord is one of the most beautifully designed games of the era, mainly due to most of it being hand-drawn. But the greatness in the graphics is definitely what held the game back. As far as storage capability, Weaponlord was only capable of having 7 characters, and in '95, that was kind of a shame considering titles like Mortal Kombat and your Street Fighters had double the amount. James Goddard and Dave Winstead, both former designers for Capcom who worked on Street Fighter II Turbo and designed the character DJ, would go on to come up with Weaponlord, being disgruntled at Capcom, left for Namco. This was their baby, their pride and joy. They put their lives into making this game, wanted to make a game for fighters by fighters, as not only were they game designers, but definitely had their fair share of experience in tournament fighting. And that definitely shows in Weaponlord as one of the most deep and hardest fighting games ever made at the time. To this day, you could even say that. Weaponlord is frustrating when you first dive in, but you've got to give this game time, because when it finally clicks, Weaponlord is an amazing experience. And you can talk about Mortal Kombat all day, but Weaponlord may be the goriest game of the era. While there are only 7 characters in the game, man, so much detail went into each one, and they don't come off gimmicky. They look metal as shit. They look serious. They look like fighters should be in a fighting game. Gameplay-wise, there is so much more to Weaponlord than you'd think there would be. From fatality combos that were never seen before, I mean, they just go on and on, to parrying, like I said earlier, so many combo breaks that can seriously handicap you for the round. Weaponlord has it if you're hardcore into fighting games. I can't stress enough how this game will kick your ass up and down. The only thing about Weaponlord that comes off as I may not recommend it to you is that it suffers from like when games in the NES era made B jump and A attack and they flipped everything we knew. Weaponlord suffers from that as well. Let's take a look. In 99.9% of 2D fighters at the time, to perform your special moves, you move your thumb in a half circle, quarter circle, charge back, what have you on the D-pad, and then press the button to perform the move. In Weaponlord, you hold the button, while holding it, then you move your thumb on the D-pad. This can seriously throw you off and takes a lot of time to get used to. If you really want to put the time in this game, you've got to get around this roadblock. But like I said, when it clicks, it's worth it. The amount of detail that went into the game, is considering the amount of time Visual Concepts was given in-house to complete it, is quite staggering and very impressive of what they pulled off. For lack of memory space and having so few characters, each character's moveset was like double, even tripled to those in normal fighting games, which made there so many variations, some of the most I've ever seen in a fighting game. I'm not gonna lie, the fatalities look better in Mortal Kombat and are done better, but in Weaponlord, they're almost as good, and you could say they have more detail to them. I mean, repeatedly chopping a decapitated head with a sword is amazing regardless. I don't know how many times I've got to say it, I'm not big on stories in old school games unless it's like an RPG or an action RPG, but here, if you're into that, Weaponlord probably boasts the most story I've ever seen for an early fighting game. I mean, there are pages and pages of fucking story in this game, so have at you if that's your thing. Weaponlord didn't do well in sales. Surprising as that is for an era when everyone had Mortal Kombat fever, Weaponlord wasn't promoted and commercialized well at all, and that's mainly due to the fact that it just went under the radar so much. Go ahead, check this game out, see if it's for you, Have patience with the controls though. When you get it, it's worth it and you'll enjoy it. On Hibiki Quickie next time, we're going to take a look at the GBA. Hey guys, you can follow me on Twitter at the HibikiTMD. Thanks for watching another video. As always, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. This is HibikiTMD, everything retro gaming, pro wrestling podcast, and everything in between. Right here on Hibiki.